Wednesday. It is a hump day. Trump day. To the ungovernables, the captives, crew, the LFA family. McGroin Nation coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. It's a good day. It's a very good day. It's a great day when you wake up and you embarrass Charles Gasparino of Fox Business on X because the guy obviously can't read. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Imagine arguing that water is dry, jumping into a swimming pool to prove it, coming out of the swimming pool, soaking wet, and still dying on the hill. That water is dry. If you could imagine ever doing that at any point in time in your life, you can imagine spending a day in the life of Charles Gasparino. That was... We'll get to that because I have a story about inflation and tariffs and all of this. That was fun. I think I may nickname him Jim Cramer Light. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe there's something catchier. Folks, today is a good day. Why is today a good day? Why is today a good day? Because let's get this one right off the bat. Nobody's above the law. By the way, can I just say something? Yeah. Nobody's above the law. There's a few roosters who are around us here in Murfreesboro. Some of our neighbors have. Our next door neighbors got chickens, and they're funny, and we heard them laying eggs this morning. But we hear these roosters that go off like in the surrounding area, and all I hear when these roosters start crowing is nobody's above the law. So I'm just going to say that. Apparently, Rumble's having some issues. Do not refresh. Or else you will not be able to get back into the show. I don't know what's going on. It is what it is. Growing pains. That's why we, have a X. If you want to go over to X, you can find it there. It is what it is. As the price you pay for free speech, nothing we can do about it. We're going to keep powering through it. We're going to keep powering through it. Appreciate everybody being here though this morning. Remember, stay here. Don't refresh. Stay here. And eventually the issues will work themselves out. I put the rooster up because the hog judge, remember hog Judge Dugan. Yeah. She was arrested a couple of weeks ago because she allowed an illegal alien and his lawyer to escape out the side door of a courthouse. She has officially been indicted. Why has she been indicted? Because nobody's above the law. That's why she's been indicted. I love this. This is my favorite. I used to love the seatbelt sign. I used to love putting this up. Where is it? Where's my seatbelt sign? Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. That's why. That's the seatbelt sign. I used to love the seatbelt sign, but I really love the rooster now. We have all these effects that are popping up off of that Chiron down there. Good times. Real good times. All right. We're going to talk about the Judge Dugan being indicted today. What went into that? There was also Hakeem Jeffries, which many people call Dollar Store or Timu Obama, threatening the Department of Homeland Security. I think the rooster may have something to say about that. According to Jeremy in our chat, pinning a message up, Rumble is being hacked right now and attacked. Please stay on this stream. If you refresh off of this stream, you will be gone forever, or until Rumble until when Rumble comes back. So, all right, we got that. An update from Ed Martin. The great Ed Martin, who Tom Tillis, who is now coming out against lowering the cost of prescription drugs. You want to take a guess why? Take a look at how much money Tom Tillis has received from Big Pharma, and you'll understand why he doesn't want to cut prescription drug costs. That guy, after what he did to Ed Martin, he's politically dead to me. Politically, don't hurt him. You may hurt his feelings. Do not hurt him physically. And he started, going on these virtue signaling, tirades on X about how he loves Trump and Republicans have a great leader in Trump and this, that. And then Trump is like, we're lowering prescription drug costs. He's like, no. Unbelievable. We do have an update from Ed Martin about what his new role is going to look like. A somewhat good ruling. The headline would suggest that this is a somewhat good ruling for Trump. A federal judge is backing Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal aliens, specifically Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang members. However, there is a caveat. There is a catch in this ruling. I think this catch is ridiculous. We'll dive into it because although the headline would suggest that this is a good thing, and it is, I think, a net positive, there's still something that's going on in that ruling that I'm not too thrilled about. So we do have that and inflation hitting, I believe, 5-year lows or 4-year lows. Inflation hitting a 4-year low, and the grocery prices have seen their sharpest decline. Inflation in grocery prices has seen its sharpest decline over the last 4 years. 4 years. So we have a lot to talk about. Before we get to all that, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. It's OFPFarms.com. OFPFarms.com. Use the promo code Sean for 15% off. Folks, if you are tired of dry and irritated skin and big woke corporations, I want you to give OFP Farms a try. Seriously, this stuff is the best. This is the Revolution soap. They also have the We the People soap. This is the We the People collection, as a matter of fact. Smells like patriotism. Smells like pure, unadulterated patriotism. Here it is, the Outlaw soap. Oh. Smelling like a felon. It'll leave you smelling like a felon. Ladies and gentlemen, OFP Farms, Goat Kisses, Lip Balm. I use it religiously. I will not use anything else. Nothing else works as well. Goat milk. These products are amazing because goat milk is packed naturally with essential vitamins and minerals that will help nourish and replenish your skin and promote regrowth of dead skin cells damaged by everyday life, harsh chemicals, exposure to the elements, and so many other things that we have to endure all day long. OFP Farms creates, produces, and ships everything directly from their farm. Their products are made in small batches to maintain quality. Folks, it's time to ditch the woke brands and support OFP Farms today. It's OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean for 15% off, 15% off. OFPFarms.com, promo code SHAWN. OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean for 15% off. I see Liz Ellis, the wife of the great Eli, in the chat. Obi-Wan, they said they got their OFP package yesterday, and I'm sure they love it. It's amazing. OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean, SHAWN for 15% off. OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean. Fonda says, Mom loved the OFP Farms Mother's Day package. What do you got?
It's Cynthia Mangel's
Cynthia's birthday. Cynthia Mangel's birthday. 72. Happy 72nd birthday. We love it. Cynthia, happy 72nd birthday. We love that. And we hope you have a tremendous day. 72. You know, that's, it's not that old when you look at it. It's not. You know, you look at crooked Joe Biden, he's around 80 years old, and he's losing his mind. But Cynthia still got it, and she's doing a tremendous job. Happy birthday to Cynthia. Oh, man, my throat. I'll tell you what. I'm having bad allergies today. All right. Here we go. Let us start with Judge Dugan, shall we? Shall we start with Judge Dugan? By the way, let us know where you're watching from in the chat, but let's start with Judge Hannah Dugan. Rochelle over on X says, I have no sympathy for Judge Hannah Dugan. I don't have sympathy for Judge Hannah Dugan either. If you don't want to be arrested, don't break the law, or don't give law enforcement any reasonable suspicion that you are indeed breaking the law. If you do break the law, you will be held accountable because, as our rooster friend says, nobody is above the law. As our Democrats, the Democrats had said for years, nobody is above the law. And if that's the case, then that applies to judges as well. Judge Hannah Dugan, the hog, right? I call her the hog because you know why? You look at her. You take a look at her. The thumbnail this morning. She's, right? Not exactly somebody who I would describe as easy on the eyes, right? That's not exactly somebody I would describe as pleasant to look at, right? Judge Hannah Dugan. This judge, apparently, a couple weeks ago, remember, after it was about a day or two after everyone started complaining that the FBI is not doing anything, the FBI was like, oh, yeah, let's arrest a judge, okay? So they arrested Hannah Dugan because apparently Hannah Dugan, as you see a picture of her right there, woof, right? Apparently Hannah Dugan was obstructing justice and concealing a person who was wanted for an arrest. According to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Hannah Dugan, 66 years old, was indicted on May 13th, that would be yesterday, after a hearing that lasted throughout the day. She was previously charged with obstructing a federal agency as well as concealing a person to prevent an arrest from taking place. The 2-page indictment details the case. She's facing up to 6 years in prison as well as a $350,000 fine. Now, the embarrassment may be worse than the jail time, although I would like to see her go to jail, because it would set the precedent that doing what Hannah Dugan did is not okay, right? Again, if you don't set the precedent, if you don't set the standard that breaking the law comes with harsh consequences, or if the consequences for breaking the law aren't harsh enough to deter a large majority of people from breaking the law, then you need harsher consequences, right? Listen, if the consequences for murder was a $5 fine, you'd see a lot more murder. Can we agree?
Yeah.
If the consequences for murder were, all right, you killed somebody, now you got to pay $5, there'd be a lot more people killing other people, I think.
Probably.
I wouldn't do it.
No.
I think murder is bad.
Yes.
But I think the consequences for murder, killing somebody, right? Maybe that's a bad example. Maybe I'm too cynical on the moral compass of humanity, although I don't think I am. Let's do something where it's not as bad as murder. Bank robbery, right? Let's say you go to the bank, you rob a bank, you steal $300,000 and you're caught. And the only punishment that you have is you got to pay $20,000, $20,000 fine. Well, you look at that and you say, all right, so the cost of robbing the bank is, if I get caught, is a $20,000 fine, but I still get to keep $300,000. Yeah, all right, so it's $280,000 net. We'll take it. You'd see a lot more bank robberies, right? You'd see a lot more people breaking the law if the consequences for breaking the law aren't harsh enough to deter you from breaking the law. This is what we're seeing in blue cities across the country, right? We're seeing this in blue cities across the country. New York City. You could shoplift. You could vandalize. You could destroy, windows. You could apparently, this story was last week. Somebody, an illegal alien, I think, was caught on the New York City subway raping a corpse. First of all, did he kill the person? Second of all, why are we doing that? It's time to go home, man. Get the hell out of our country, okay? Cinco de Porro was last week. Get him out. What? Adios. Afuera. No, but on a real note, you have places like California, you got places like New York, you got places like Chicago, Seattle, Washington State. These places that are implementing these cashless bail laws that are essentially taking the teeth out of the consequences of being caught breaking the law. So what you're doing is you're giving an incentive, essentially, or you're, by lack of consequences, lack of applying real consequences, you are essentially, at that point, telling people it's okay to break the law. And the fact of the matter is, it's not. The fact of the matter is, it's not okay to break the law. That's why the law exists. So I think I would like to see Dugan sentenced to some jail time, whether it's 6 years. I don't think it's going to be 6 years. Let's be realistic real quick. I don't think Judge Dugan's getting sentenced to 6 years. Maybe a month. Maybe 2 months. You know what? I say you put her in jail for as long as Steve Bannon went to jail. What was that, 90 days? Right? Because you have to make it clear that, no, you're not just going to be able to escape consequences by paying money. You're going to serve time. And even if it's for 90 days, you're not going to enjoy it. She should be permanently disbarred and removed from the bench, and she should serve time. Because what that will do is that will show anybody else who's thinking of doing what she did. It will show it will send a message to anybody else who's thinking of doing what she did. Hey, maybe it's not worth it. Do I really want to spend 90 days in the can? I don't really want to do that. Maybe it's not worth it. That's how consequences are supposed to work. Consequences are supposed to be the deterrent. Listen, the first deterrent is supposed to be your moral compass, right? Murder is bad. Breaking the law is bad. Hiding people who are wanted for arrest is not the right thing to do. Obstructing justice is not the right thing to do. That's not the right thing to do just based on if you have a moral compass that's working. But when your moral compass fails, and all of us have failed, right? All of us have made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. You have the law to say, hey, no, okay, your moral compass may fail, and that's one thing. But if you're thinking of breaking the law and we catch you, here are the consequences. Now ask yourself if that's worth it. And the answer, if the consequences are harsh enough, should be, no, it's not worth it. On second thought, I'm not going to break the law today. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to work. And if Judge Dugan is not made an example of, and I'm not just saying to make an example of her only, if somebody else does what she did, I'm not saying to give them a lesser sentence. Set the precedent with Dugan, send her to jail for 90 days, and then if anybody else does what she did, they get the exact same punishment. Now you have precedent. But if you let her get off with a, $100,000 fine, $50,000 fine, permanently disbarred, removed from the bench, not enough. Not enough. Chances are, if she is removed from the bench, chances are, if she is permanently disbarred at 66 years old, she's probably had a long career, in this position. In that, if you want to call it industry or business or whatever, profession, she's probably going to be fine. It's not harsh enough to just fine her. She should go to jail. Now, I know some people who are like, no, she should go to jail for all 6 years. Okay. I don't disagree that should be on the table since it's, it's in the sentencing, recommendations when you violate that statute or those laws. But be realistic, okay? She's not getting sentenced to jail for 6 years. We want to always keep realistic expectations, right? She's not getting sentenced to jail for 6 years. I do believe she should do at least 90 days. Put her in jail for as long as they put Bannon in jail. Okay. On this nobody's above the law kind of topic. Yesterday we had Dollar Store Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, decide that it was a good idea to now threaten DHS officials. Threaten. Publicly levying threats and I don't have words today, but publicly making threats against DHS officials. We got the video. I'm going to play this for you right here. Hakeem Jeffries threatening. Now, again, is it a crime? Are these threats credible? Listen, I would say that it was absolutely, these threats are credible because we've seen officers and DHS officials, come under attack. Before we go to Jeffries, the reason why I think it's credible is because members of Hakeem Jeffries' caucus, members of his caucus of the House Democrats have made these threats, right, claiming we are at war, and then have attacked police officers. Look.
Let them know, especially the Republicans, that we will not take this. We will fight back.
Fight back. Fight back.
And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and goddamn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war.
We're at war. That was LaMonica McIver, right? You remember her. I call her the wild hog as well, because she did this. Okay, as Bad Moon mentions in the chat, they're telling you what they're going to do. So I would say, based off of past statements made by elected Democrats, the threats that Hakeem Jeffries made yesterday, I would deem them credible. They're not just words. Listen to Jeffries and what he said yesterday regarding the Department of Homeland Security.
Your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
what happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do, though?
They'll find out.
What recourse? But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. It's a joke. They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration. We're not going to be intimidated by their tactics to try to force principled opposition from not standing up to their extremism. It hasn't happened during the entirety of this failed term. It didn't happen when Donald Trump temporarily was sitting high in the immediate aftermath of the election. Do you think it's going to happen now, when he's the most unpopular president in American history after his first 100 days? Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one. And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
Okay, that sounds like a threat to me. They'll find out. What does that mean? Find out how? Find out how? What are you going to do? Extremism? I'm sorry, was that a Republican elected official shoving cops? Did that ever happen? I don't think so. Extremism? Wait, so demanding that MS-13 gang members are brought back into our country isn't extreme, but closing the border is, and asking your members of your Democrat House caucus to stop behaving like animals, that's extreme? You mean to tell me that LaMonica McIver wasn't behaving like an animal in this video? That's not animal behavior? I've seen nature shows where the animals start fighting and it's not that violent. Okay? Extremism. What does Hakeem Jeffries mean by they'll find out? And the reporter, whoever that was that asked the question, I don't know who that was, he pushed a few times and then, well, it's a red line. Well, what happens if you cross the red line, Hakeem? And here's the other thing. He's not the only one. I'm not the only one, right, Aaron Lewis? He's not the only one threatening DHS. Here is All Out Crazy, AOC, doing the same thing.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for us all. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem. Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined in the law that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access, legally required to be granted access. And they legally cannot be inhibited from accessing these facilities to conduct their constitutional obligation to investigate and conduct oversight. So if Kristi Noem wants to break the law, that's on her. But it sure as hell is not someone like Representative Robert Menendez that needs to be arrested, okay?
It's funny because Robert Menendez's father was arrested for breaking the law. But hey, AOC, again, I go back to this video. Is this what you mean when you talk about oversight? Is this congressional oversight? Is this what's enshrined in the Constitution? AOC, is what the wild hog known as LaMonica McIver is what she is seen doing in this video. Does this fall under the umbrella of oversight? Is this oversight? The answer is no. What she's doing there is a violation of the law. And as we know, the rooster crows, nobody is above the law, right? It's the same crap. Every morning you guys woke up like a rooster. Nobody above the law. Every freaking day with Donald Trump, right? Every day. Do you think if Donald Trump showed up to an ICE facility or a courthouse or something and pushed a cop that they wouldn't have handcuffed him on the spot? And what does it mean, AOC? If you lay a finger on our representatives, we're going to have a problem. What do you mean by that? Again, look, I'm not saying that I am not saying we crack down on speech. I am not saying we should start policing speech. All I'm saying is, okay, the Democrats have had a pattern of behavior of making violent and incendiary claims and calls to violence, right? We are at war. If you arrest them, you're going to find out. All sorts of different, figures of speech and phrases that could be interpreted as calls to violence. I'm not for a second saying that we criminalize anything that could be interpreted as a call to violence. I want to be very clear. I don't want that. Because then you could twist that and say, well, that could be interpreted as a call to violence, and that could be... No. I'm saying we have seen Democrats make these claims publicly, claims that could be interpreted as a call to violence, and then we've seen violence conducted by Democrats. Okay? That's not up for debate. That's not up for debate. All right. I want to get to Ed Martin on the other side of the break. Before we get to the break, did you guys see what the House Republicans did on X yesterday in the chat? Did you guys see it? Whether you're watching on Rumble or anywhere else. Did you see what the House Republicans did? Oh, Mike Johnson's speaking about it in a news conference. Well, it's nice to know that he's actually working today. Did you see what the House Republicans did on X yesterday? Have you guys seen it? Phyllis Kohler, by the way, in the X chat, posting a rooster. I love it. I'd love to start the tradition that every time this guy comes on the screen, we just start dropping rooster emojis on the screen. Did you see the message that? Did you see the message that they posted on X? Anybody see it? Has anyone in the chat seen it, or said that they saw it, or didn't see it? The message that the House Republican Party posted on X yesterday. I did, but yeah, there you go. Trainer Soul says, "Get off the sideline." This is something, guys. I mean, talk about the pot calling the kettle black, right? Isn't that the phrase? Talk about someone made a comment. I forget who it was on X. It was someone I think it was Dan Holloway, the Drinking Brothers podcast. He said it's like an overweight guy telling you should lose weight. It's exactly what this is. Look at this. House Republicans. Now, look, it says we need to get Americans off the sidelines. Folks, do I agree with that? Do I agree, and do you agree that it would be better to get Americans off the sidelines, more Americans participating in the process? Do you think that would be a good idea? Right? Do you think that would be? I think it would be a good idea. I agree with that. I agree with you. That's only what I've been saying, since we won the election. I was like, don't go away. Don't do this vote once every 4 years thing, right? I mean, I've literally every single day. Dylan Fillion of Iowa has called me, and we've spoken on the show. He's called in, and he has made the exact same claims. You know that I'm a diehard with that philosophy, right? Everybody must get off the sidelines. But the fact that the House Republicans are making that message and putting this message up on X is absolutely laughable. Look at this right up here. Look at it. We need to get Americans off the sidelines. Guys, you can't stop taking vacations. You had a 4-day weekend last weekend. For what? Mother's Day. Okay, that's nice. That's great. I don't know any working class Americans who get 4 days off for Mother's Day. I don't know any of them. I can't find one. I can't find one. You know what? The 4-day weekend for Memorial Day is getting eroded away now because people have to work more than a job or more than 2 jobs or more than 3 jobs now. How about instead of telling Americans to get off the sidelines, you get off your asses and get some stuff done in Congress? How about that? You know that Donald Trump has signed 5. You know what? You know that Donald Trump has signed 5 pieces of legislation since being sworn in on January 20th, 2025. 5 pieces of legislation in 4 months. That is the lowest number of bills signed by a sitting president in his first 100 days since the 1950s. And yet House Republicans have the nerve to pull this crap on X. The nerve. Get off the sidelines. You guys are on the sidelines. We're the ones who got off the sidelines to give you the job that you currently have. You get off the sidelines. Stop taking breaks. Stop fighting over whether or not you could vote by proxy. And actually, here's an idea, actually go to freaking work. Man, I'm tired of these people. Oh, we got to get Americans off the side. Yeah, duh. But you got to give us something to get excited about. We sent you to D.C. to do a job, and you're not doing it. And then you're spitting in our face with crap like this. Spitting in our face. Unbelievable. I that level of tone. Remember William Hung on American Idol? Do you remember who that was? She bangs. He was like a historically bad singer, and he kept advancing on American Idol because he's basically like a meme. He kept advancing on American Idol because the audience didn't actually want him to leave because he was funny. That's how bad he was. This is a level of tone deaf that would make William Hung blush. Oh, man. You got to be kidding me. I saw that. I said, there is no way that's a real post. I thought it was a meme. And then I go onto the House Republican X account, X page. It's not a meme. It's real. Here, I'll show you the post right here on the screen. By the way, not that it matters. I don't really pride myself, but you know, people like a ratio and all that stuff. This is a fun ratio to have. Look, there it is. House Republicans. That's the real post. See, look, they got that 5,000 likes right there. 14. Your boy with the 14K right there. How's it? How you doing? Right? How you doing? Hey, Republicans, how you doing? I cannot believe somebody thought posting that message was a good idea. I can't believe it. And yet, someone did it. All right. Let's take a quick break. Let's go to the LFA TV store. LFATV.us, LFATV.us, LFATV.us. And let's take a look at that LFA TV store right here at the highly respected. We love the LFA TV website. Highly respected, okay? Highly respected. LFATV.us. Beautiful website. Click on the LFA TV store tab, and you will see everything there is to offer right here at the LFA TV store. Lots of good stuff, including these mugs. I love these mugs. All these pictures. I mean, just think about that 2024 campaign for a second. This really sums it up. The mug shot, the fight picture, McDonald's, garbage truck. That's it. That really sums it up. Those are the 4 most iconic pictures in American presidential history, right? You got the Made America Great Again shirt, the I Don't Really Care Margaret shirt. I loved that. I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want them in our country. Yeah. So does 70+% of Americans. Get out. Everybody out. LFATV.us, LFATV.us, or JeremyHerald.com/store. Father's Day right around the corner, so you guys know some cool Father's Day gift ideas here on the LFA TV store website as well. Again, that's at LFA, Lima Foxtrot Alpha .us, Uniform Sierra. LFATV.us or JeremyHerald.com/store. JeremyHerald.com/store, LFATV.us. All right. We had that. Laugh break, anyone? Anyone want to do a laugh break? Let's do a laugh break. Okay. Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia yesterday. He's still out in the Middle East. He's doing this Middle East tour. And I don't have the video of this, but he was escorted by camels, okay, up to the palace, or whatever they call it over there, palace, or I don't know. I think it's a palace. Somebody asked Donald Trump what he thought of that whole thing. Look, this guy, Trump, he constantly feeds me material. And this is why I love, doing the impersonation, because I get a lot of comments who are like, that's something that he would actually say. And I'm looking at it going, is it? And then I see a video like this and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Watch this. Donald Trump talking about the building he's in and some of the experience. Watch this.
The job you've done is second to none. You look at this, it's so beautiful. As a construction person, I'm seeing perfect marble. This is what they call perfecto. And just a great job you've done, and what a beautiful place. And we appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. And that was some greeting. We appreciate it very much.
I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. Haven't seen camels like that, right? Who says that? Could you imagine Joe Biden? Yeah, it was, thank you for bringing me to the palace, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And I saw the camels, I sniffed its hump. What a contrast. I just thought it was funny. You got perfect marble, right? Look at this marble. They call it perfecto. It's perfect, right? Like my phone calls. It's a beautiful building. As a construction guy, it's a beautiful building, and we really appreciate it. The camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. Anytime I think that he, that's maybe there's something I say, maybe he's not. He wouldn't say it like that. I get a video like this, and I'm like, you know what? Guy's one of a kind. I love it. All right. YMCA Arabia. Well, they apparently played the YMCA, and he danced, and the Saudis thought it was hysterical. So that's cool. All right, Ed Martin, who should be the D.C. U.S. attorney, who isn't because of Tom Tillis, who must be primaried. Must be primaried. It's not a should, it's a must. Tom Tillis has to go. North Carolina, you got to do better, and that election, he's up for re-election next year. Ed Martin, and this granted, this is from NBC News, okay? But they have the story. We're going to talk about it. Obviously, I like to look at stories like this on NBC News because if they're really upset about it, we go with the Billy Currington theory, right? Must be doing something right. Okay, so we are going to watch. We're going to read this story from NBC News. The DOJ weaponization group, which is going to be led by Ed Martin, will shame individuals. That's great. Shame individuals that can't charge with crimes, according to Ed Martin himself. The Eagle. The Eagle has been unleashed. This is Ryan Riley on NBC News. Oh, a left wing. This guy's so left wing. He's crazy. What a stupid guy. The conservative activist. That's how they started it off, which is accurate, I would say. Ed Martin. The conservative activist named by President Trump as the head of the Justice Department's weaponization working group said Tuesday he planned to name and shame individuals that the Department of Justice determines it is unable to charge with crimes in what would amount to a major departure from longstanding Justice Department protocols. Oh, poor you. It's not nice to shame people. You know what? If there's anyone who's worth shaming, it's people who work for our government, who are weaponizing our government against the people. Absolutely. You can't charge them with crimes if there aren't actually crimes there, but just really shameful behavior. By all means, Mr. Ed Martin, please shame these people. And by the way, Ed Martin has a tremendous sense of humor. I know that personally because he's a really fun guy to hang out with. and the video that Brennan shot when I met Trump And I made a poop joke, right? We're going to help you win in a landslide worse than Chris Christie after Taco Bell. You can see Ed Martin in the background cracking up because it's funny. Ed Martin described himself at a press conference as the captain of the group that is investigating prosecutors who launched past investigations into Trump and his allies. Quote, there are some really bad actors, some people that did some really bad things to the American people. And if they can be charged, we'll charge them. But if they can't be charged, we will name them, Martin said. And we will name them. And in a culture that respects shame, they should be people that are ashamed. And that's a fact. That's the way things work. And so that's how I believe the job operates. Well, I, for one, am very happy because you know what? In politics, sometimes, you get charged with a crime. They hold your hearing in Washington, D.C. You're acquitted. Everything goes away. But the shame, right? Remember Bongino, snapshots and sound bites, right? When you shame these people, that's the type of stuff that lasts for a long time, right? Memes. Remember AOC crying at the fence and everybody was doing the AOC challenge a couple years ago back in 2019? It was, the border. And it was down on the border, crying as if it wasn't actually the border. It wasn't actually a detention facility. You have these, remember, Nancy Pelosi, we still do this, right? And I'm going to rub my wrists and say there's no place like home. And then I'll go home and Paul Pelosi, I'll take the hammer out of his ass. Right? Sometimes shaming is the way to go. Snapshots, sound bites. We shamed Jamal Bowman over, remember? I'm going to pull that fire alarm. I won't go vote. I'm going to pull the alarm. He lost the primary. Sometimes shame is a worse punishment than the legal process. Right? So I'm all about it. Now, I hope this now. I will caveat it with this. I hope that we don't see only shaming going on. If there were crimes committed, and I know Ed Martin will pursue it and give it to Jeanine Pirro, but if there were crimes committed, those people need to be prosecuted. Absolutely. 1,000%. Okay. Next. This is a good story. Headline is a good story, but there is a catch. Okay? There is a catch. A federal judge has backed Trump's use of the Alien and Enemies Act to deport Tren de Aragua gang members. However, this is not a total win for the Trump administration, not a total win for us, but it's a step in the right direction. Okay? This judge, Stephanie Haynes, who's a Trump appointee, ruled that the Trump administration's description of Tren de Aragua's predatory incursion into the U.S. was faithful to the Alien Enemies Act. She also found that the Trump administration had not provided individual detainees subject to deportation adequate amount of notice. This is where we get into a debate over how far can these judges go? Okay? How far can these judges go? According to Judge Stephanie Haynes, and according to her ruling, she is requiring that Donald Trump give every illegal alien that has been admitted, that is subject to deportation in the United States under the Alien Enemies Act, she's requiring that he give them 21 days notice. Okay? So while you have this headline, it looks nice, it looks good, that 21 days notice thing is bullcrap. Why is it bullcrap? Because the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which is codified as Section 50 U.S. Code Section 21, gives the President of the United States power to apprehend, restrain, secure, and remove non-citizen nationals of a hostile nation during times of declared war or actual invasion-level threats without the need for a criminal trial or typical immigration procedures. So the Alien Enemies Act, which Donald Trump is using to deport these illegal alien Tren de Aragua gang members, the Alien Enemies Act gives him the power to remove them essentially without due process. Okay? You're a member of Tren de Aragua, you can leave, we have to go. It does not. The Alien Enemies Act, nowhere in the act, in the statute, does not specify a timeline for removal. For example, 21 days notice. It does not specify detailed procedural rights like a hearing or a right to counsel. It does not specify translation services or other due process requirements, that this judge, this ruling says they've got to get it in their language, they've got to have a right to get a lawyer, they've got to have 21 days. So the Alien Enemies Act does not have that. This judge just added that in. She added that in, and judges do this all the time. They do this to address like these constitutional due process concerns. She has a concern about, is this violating the due process? They don't get the right to due process. They are members of an FTO, foreign terrorist organization. Now, that 21-day notice provision is not in the statute that the judge says Donald Trump can use. So then how is Donald Trump supposed... He's being told you can use the statute. The statute does not include a 21-day notice provision. But the judge essentially just added something to the law, and now that's binding? Absolutely not. A judge can't rewrite a statute, period. They can't rewrite the statute. If they want that 21-day provision, that's got to go through Congress. But judges have been given the authority to impose additional requirements if they believe they're constitutionally necessary. The statute, the Alien Enemies Act, which was passed by Congress, becomes a law, but courts have to apply the Constitution on top of that law. And what this judge is saying is she's concerned that there are due process violations, so there's a 21-day advance notice provision that she's adding, known as a procedural protection. Donald Trump and the administration should appeal that all the way to the Supreme Court. He should petition the Supreme Court and say, could you please look at this? On one hand, this judge is saying I can use the Alien Enemies Act. 50 U.S. Code Section 20, right? Section 20, I think. Is that what it was? Let me go back up there. I had this written down. 50 U.S. Code Section 21, sorry. On one hand, this judge says he can use the Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal alien gang members and that their designation as terrorists satisfies the requirement in the Alien Enemies Act that it's an invasion-level threat or a wartime threat or something of that nature, right? So on one hand, the judge says he can use the act. The act does not specify, nor does it require, that these people are given 21 days notice, the right to legal counsel and translation services, yet she's requiring that. The Supreme Court should look at this and say, okay, it doesn't say it in the law. You said he can use the law. That's it. It's cut and dry. Donald Trump this administration has to appeal that 21-day notice crap. Because all that does is allow these people to stay here for longer than they should stay here. Why do I want Trende Aragua in my country for 3 extra weeks when the law that is being used to deport them doesn't require that? This is, again, where I look at these, the House Republicans' message. Guys, how about instead of telling Americans get off the sidelines, why don't we rein in judicial scope? Why don't we, start addressing these radical judges? Why don't we do something? Because it's getting ridiculous. And Donald Trump can absolutely appeal the 21-day provision that was added in to the ruling here and basically added on top of the Alien Enemies Act when that was not included in the law when it was passed in 1798. Trump could file a notice of appeal in the same district court. It would go to the Third Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. He could request a stay of the 21-day requirement, which seems to be one of the quicker moves, that he can request a stay, say, hey, this isn't in the law. Let's pause that requirement for 21 days. And while that pause is happening, just deport the hell out of people. And then if necessary, petition the Supreme Court to look at that and appeal that 21-day provision. Again, that 21-day provision is not in the statute. The judge just added that in yesterday. That's ridiculous. It can't be allowed. All right. Let's get to a word from our friends at Armra Colostrum. Tryarmra.com/LFATV. TRYARMRA.com/LFATV. Lima Foxtrot Alpha Tango Victor. Tryarmor.com/LFATV. And then I want to show you what the Chucky boy, Charles Gasparino, he made a fool of himself today on X. Folks, I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity, my gut health, and improve my fitness and metabolism, enhance my skin and hair radiance. And if you're on the lookout for ways to do that, Armra Colostrum can do all that and more for you. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life. It contains all the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. Colostrum can help reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow, can help fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism. And it can help fuel your fitness performance and recovery. I see a lot of comments in the chat. A lot of people love what Armra Colostrum has done for them. On the fitness front, you can harness the close-guarded secret of elite athletes, long prized for its unrivaled ability to take performance to its apex. Colostrum has been shown in research to help enhance nutrient absorption, promote lean muscle building, and improve endurance while fueling cellular repair regeneration for faster recovery. Specifically, Colostrum has been shown to improve fitness endurance by 20%, decrease recovery time by over 50% after intense exercise, improve stamina, and specifically build lean muscle mass. Just go to tryarmra.com/LFATV. You'll get 15% off of your first order. That's tryarmra.com/LFATV for 15% off of your first order if you want to try it out. Tryarmra.com/LFATV for 15% off of your first order. Tryarmra.com/LFATV. All right. Okay, first-time listener, and the name is?
Denise Q8.
Denise Q8.
First time on this podcast, and I'm in love. Your Trump impression is great.
We love you, Denise. You're a tremendous person. I have to say that. Denise Q8. Right? What a tremendous person. As opposed to Chris Christie, who ate Q, right? Alphabet soup. We love you, Denise. We're happy to have you. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You're a tremendous person. Thank you, Denise. Everybody here, please hit that thumbs up button for the live stream, for the channel, for the show. We'd greatly appreciate that. There are 7,300 people watching right now, 661 likes. We got to do better. We can do better. We can do better. For those of you, 7,300 who are watching, and I know there's some issues, don't have a Rumble account, please make a Rumble account. I want to see you, like Denise Q8, in our chat. I want to see you in our chat. I want you to be a part of the show as much as possible. That's why we do calls on Friday. Please make a Rumble account if you haven't already. And now let's move on to this. We got to go real quick into this Charles Gasparino situation. This guy made a fool of himself this morning. So he was getting into it with Alex Bresowitz of X Strategies. And, I came into Gasparino's mentions, and I told him, because I said to him, you've been dead wrong on tariffs to the extent that Jim Cramer is dead wrong on market predictions. And I called him Chuck, right? Because it's a funny thing. It's not even call him a name. It's just Chuck, Charles, whatever. He said, prove it, and I'll come to your house and buy you an ice cream cone. So I went on his feed, and I did this. March 28th, 2025. Consumer sentiment down. Inflation pressure persisting. Things aren't looking so good for tariffs, which impact both. The problem with the tariff plan is that it is going all in at once. Does detract, this guy doesn't know how to write, from all the other necessary elements of the Trump agenda. Plus, this economy needs to grow. Perilous times in Trump land. Interesting, because, according to the next photo, inflation rate has hit a 4-year low. Groceries have the biggest decline in 5 years. Now, he's like, well, that doesn't prove what you're saying it proves. It absolutely proves what I'm saying it proves. He made a prediction that tariffs were going to make inflation stickier. Meanwhile, we are currently right now, he made that call on March 28th, right? We are currently right now tariffing every country in the world at a higher rate than we were tariffing these countries on March 28th, right? So we've implemented tariffs, more tariffs than we had in the past, and inflation has continued to cool. This guy made a fool of himself and was embarrassed in these mentions. Look at that. He says, so where did I say inflation was higher? Show me and I'll buy you 2 scoops. I said, you said inflation pressure persists. We are tariffing countries higher than we were when you made that prediction, and inflation has cooled. If he was right, inflation wouldn't have cooled. Oh, man, this guy got absolutely chewed out. It is unbelievable. The people, look, Fox Business, right? I mean, this guy's on Fox Business acting like he knows what he's talking about. It's crazy. And Matt Brown jumped in because I said to him, you said inflation persists. It just hit a 4-year low. Tariffs are still being applied, albeit not at 145% at China, but 30%, and still 120% on cheap goods, and a baseline tariff on everybody else, which is an increase over what we did previously. On March 28th, nobody knew what the tariff rates were, and you were wrong. Inflation cooled. Tariff rates increased. Since then, now I want a gallon of ice cream. And Matt Brown came in and said, why not 2 gallons of ice cream? Because inflation cooled down and ice cream is more affordable now. Good point. Folks, that guy is clearly a panicking. Then he came in and said, I thought he caved to China. Look, all I said was Gasparino made a prediction that tariffs would have a bad impact, would lead inflation to persist. That is incorrect. Tariffs have been in place since April 2nd. Yes, Donald Trump dialed down the percentage or the rate that we're tariffing other countries, but we're still tariffing other countries at a higher rate than we were before he announced the tariffs. And inflation has continued to cool. If what Charles was saying was correct, putting the 10% baseline on the rest of the world, 145% down to 30% on China, and 120% on cheap Chinese goods, inflation shouldn't have cooled. It's Moneyball, right? If he's such a good hitter, how come he's not hitting good? He didn't get that. And he started with the name calling. You're a dummy. You're this. And I want this ice cream. I was like, dude, just stop. Okay? Just stop. Guy lost all credibility this morning. And, you know, I'm not an economist, but I could see, okay, inflation cooled. Tariffs are in place. So anybody who predicted that inflation wouldn't cool because of tariffs is wrong. Anyway, we got a honk Mo. All right, whoa. All right, we got Santa Mo hit me in the head. There it is. Mo, nice little honk for Mo. Folks, we got to get out of here. Jeremy Harrell coming up next with Live from America for the next 2 hours. I'll be joining the great Michael Patrick Leahy. Follow him on X at Michael P. Leahy. The great Michael Patrick Leahy on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show in about an hour for the Tennessee Bonus Hour starting at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much, everybody who watched and listened. If you can, the 7,300 of you here, do me a favor. Go to your favorite podcasting platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, whatever one you use, right? Search for Ungoverned. It's right there on your screen. And just hit the subscribe button. Maybe leave us a nice review that you enjoy the show. It helps us fly up the charts. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button for us here on Rumble as well. If you're watching on X, hit the repost button. We would greatly appreciate it. Helps us fly up the charts. If you have not made a Rumble account yet, please make a Rumble account. It's one of the best ways, one of the best ways to support the number one free speech platform on the internet. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. Jeremy Harrell coming up next. Keep it locked here on LFA TV for the best lineup in conservative news on the internet right here, rumble.com/LFA TV. As President Trump would say, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, rumble.com/LFA TV. In the words of John Fetterman, good night, everybody. Bang gavel. We'll see you tomorrow morning.